This is the Namco Jackpot 2 coin pusher. I've been wanting a coin pusher for a while now, and this one came up for just 350 bucks, so I went ahead and picked it up. The best part is, even at that price, it looks like it's complete. It even has the back door, which none of my other arcade machines have ever had. The main things I was worried about this not having, because these are always missing whenever I buy used machines, are the coin mechs, and this machine uses 7 of them. But thankfully, all 7 are in place, and they're all 25-cent coin mechanisms, and they're all 25-cent coin mechanisms, and they're all 25-cent coin mechanisms. So obviously a few of the light bulbs need to be replaced. This rope light kinda halfway works. Probably just take that off and not replace it. And the marquee bulb is completely dead, but that's fine because I would have replaced that with an LED anyways. At least that thing still works. The only major problem I'm seeing right now is that whenever coins fall into the chute, I'm not getting any kind of response from the machine. Yep, strike that comment about the machine being complete. There's supposed to be a coin hopper back here that functioned kind of similarly to a change machine. It would count out the coins one at a time so that the board would know how many tickets to give you. But honestly, that's not such a big deal. I kind of wanted to convert this from a ticket payout machine to a cash payout machine anyways. All I need to do is cut in a little compartment here for the coins to fall into. That'll probably be cheaper than getting a new hopper. There's a fair bit of cosmetic damage, like this corner which was just obliterated. But I think... yeah... this is probably the worst of the cosmetic damage, and really the only thing I could do to fix this would be to replace the whole panel here or just blob on a ton of Bondo, but this part's going to be in a corner, so I'm really not that concerned about it. It always amazes me how much damage someone can do to a coin door. This thing's been kicked in or something, and heck, it's even cracked right here. Still holds money though, so I might leave it alone. Other than that, everything's just basic maintenance kind of stuff. Here's the circuit board and the power supply and all. There's also a ton of tokens in the bottom. I made sure none of these were on any of the components before I turned it on. I'm definitely going to scoop all those up and put them in a little jar or something. There is an ocean of tokens in there. There's really no way to properly access this part of the machine. This is where you would take the coin pan out, and this part is not a proper door. There's a bunch in there too. This reminds me of the good old days at Chuck E. Cheese. We'd have to pick all the quarters out of the big piles of tokens that we pulled out of the machines, probably for some stupid income tax purposes. Yeah, this rope light has seen better days. I'm gonna unscrew this thing and toss it straight in the dumpster. The next thing I'm going to do is clean these coin mechanisms because for some reason they keep on jamming. What the? What is that doing in there? So I went to clean these mechs and I noticed this inside them. So after I removed the tape and the cardboard, I found out that the coin mechs that came with the machine were token-only coin mechs, and the tape and the cardboard were there to make them work with quarters. Since that's not really the way you should do it, I ordered some more 25-cent coin mechs. You've probably seen this button change from square to round a few times, and that's because I was having trouble getting it to work. It ended up just being a connector at the board, which I just plugged back in. I also can't get the darn thing to light up, but these coin return buttons don't light up either, so maybe it's not supposed to. Actually, that's probably not the case, because there are wires ran right to this light, so I need to figure out why it's not lighting up. Before I get started, I would like to take a second to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, in case anyone here is new to electronics repair. If you look at this simplified wiring diagram, you can see that it's not just a bulb plugged into a socket. There are wiring harnesses and a motherboard in between the power source and the bulb itself. So I've got my multimeter in continuity mode, and I have followed one of the wires to this little bar here, and looks like we've got complete continuity there. I followed the other wire to over here, and yep, we got continuity there too. Well, you know what that means. I get to yank out the board and see what's wrong with it. Looking back at that wiring diagram, this is probably a more honest representation of what's going on. As you can see, there are several smaller components that determine whether or not the bulb should be on or off. Each of these needs to be systematically checked with a multimeter to see where the problem lies that's preventing the bulb from working. Once the part is determined, it can be replaced. So with a light that's going to be controlled by this board, you're going to have a transistor somewhere in between the power supply and the bulb itself, and that's the case here. If we look at pin number 6 here, which is the pin that the light connects to on the connector, I can trace this right back to the middle leg of this transistor here. I don't think I'll ever be able to get this angle just right, but if I check right here, I've got continuity between the transistor and this resistor array. And if I check between both sides of... That blasted bug keeps hitting the light and makes a loud dinging noise. What even is that? Is that a wasp? And if I check between both sides of this resistor array, getting about 181 ohms, which is what this resistor array is rated for. I really hope that the problem does not lie with this chip, because I don't know how exactly these work. But there is another one of these on the board, and if I get to that point, I will swap the two of these and see if that fixes it. The first thing I'm going to try is desoldering this transistor and swapping it with this one back here. These are all the same transistor, and if anything, these joints don't look perfect even though they tested right. So I figure 2 birds with 1 stone, swapping those around. Nope, that didn't do it. I guess I'll have to go ahead and swap those 2 chips. Back to the old circuit board. Okay, a quick recap. I have checked everything between the bulb itself and the processor on the board, and I have found no problems with any of those things. that tells me that this is either A, a problem with the ROM or processor, or B, the game was never programmed to light up that bulb. I tend to think that it's going to be B. If there were a problem with the processor or ROM, I think this would manifest itself in many more ways rather than just a bulb not lighting up. But if you can prove me wrong, well, go ahead. If the Namco Jackpot 2 coin pusher in your house lights up the button, I would like for you to send me the ROM, because I don't think anyone else has preserved this ROM online like they do with all the video arcades. Now that's as far as I can get right now. I'm waiting on a bunch of parts to come in the mail before I can finish all the cosmetics. I think the mail's ran already though, so I'm gonna go check it. I know I initially said I wasn't going to replace this, but whenever you see one of these in bubble wrap, you know a lot of money just disappeared. Yeah, that looks a lot better. What I have here is an LED replacement for the fluorescent tube, and this is the ballast bypass kind, and I'll explain what that does in a second. So what we have here is 120 volts coming from the bottom of the cabinet. That runs to this transformer here, which turns it into, I think, like 600 volts. And from there, that runs to the receptacles on the side. What this does is it bypasses that transformer entirely, and I prefer to do that because I've had these die on me in the past. I mean, if this goes bad, you're going to have to get in here and remove that thing anyways to replace it. So why not just get a ballast bypass bulb and be done with the darn thing? Okay, so you can see what I've done here. I've tied the live and neutral wires to the yellow and white wires running to the receptacle on the side, and this will send 120 volts straight into this LED tube. So, I've replaced the original incandescent bulbs with these incandescent styled LEDs, and now I've found a new problem. It seems like this is a running theme here. So given that all four of these are not working at the same time, I'm going to guess that this is probably a broken wire or maybe a bad transistor. Or actually I think these are called triacs in this case. Okay, I stand corrected. These are actually relays, which they do the same things transistors do, except that these are a little more expensive. These are about $20.
I'm just going to solder this connector here because for some reason I have no idea what I'm actually doing where I'm supposed to work and check the cheeses, but I was mostly eating. I don't know why, but for some reason these light bulbs aren't turning on like they're supposed to. They're supposed to turn on and off when the board tells them to. This machine uses a motor which runs on 120 volts AC, which is different from 120 volts DC, because AC/DC is not
Before I do anything, I'm just going to swap this.
the closest thing to wiring I've ever done is getting tied up in a bowl of ramen noodles.
It was this chip right here. All the wires from the connector run straight to this, and after I replaced it, all the lights started working again. As you can see, I lifted a few traces. I should have been more patient with my desoldering, but now all the bulbs work. To further explain this, here's another diagram. You can see that the bulb is controlled by the lamp driver board. There's a relay on there that turns the bulb on and off, and that relay is controlled by a chip on the motherboard. The first thing I did was check for continuity on the wire that runs to the bulb. I then swapped the relay that controlled that bulb with other known working relays on that lamp driver board. Then I checked for continuity between the lamp driver board and the motherboard, and lastly I checked for continuity between the connection on the motherboard to the chip itself. Since I don't really know how to test this chip, I just went ahead and replaced it, and then the bulb started working. Well, I ended up scrapping my idea to make this a cash payout machine because I found this coin hopper for 40 bucks on eBay. That's actually a bit cheaper than it would have been to turn this into a cash payout machine. Made some connectors for the thing and wired it in, and it works great. However, I've now found another problem. So normally in gameplay, all these lights lock on like this, but this is in between games. The problem with it locking up like this is that when it does it, it no longer gives out tickets or makes any of the noises that it's supposed to make when you win or lose. Before I had the hopper, I just thought that the machine locked up like that when there was no hopper or no coin sensor present, but now I see that it's a definite problem. So I decided to go about this the easy way. Okay. I ordered a working board off of eBay and started swapping stuff over one at a time until I could find what was causing the problem. I've swapped the processor, I've swapped the ROM, I've swapped the RAM, I've swapped this and whatever that is.
I don't know why, but
I even swapped out all these little chips here.
On like they're supposed to. They're supposed to turn on and off when the board tells them.
I'm not really sure what to do at this point. I've replaced pretty much every component in the game. It's still not working. I even went out and bought some ticket. It all makes complete and total sense now. When the game is not being played, it does this light show. When the game is being played, all the lights turn on to make the playfield brighter, so you can see what you're doing. And if all the lights are on for an extended period of time, the game room attendant can clearly know, okay, there's something wrong with the ticket dispensers on this machine. Given the fact that I've restocked and fixed thousands of ticket mechs in my day, I should have known this and I should have checked this first, but I didn't. And yes, this also does the thing where all the coins get stuck on the edge and never fall off. Except now, I can do this. It sure is satisfying to look at this thing, now that I've fixed all the different problems that it has.
Oh, that was close.
At least that thing still works. So I got up here on my ladder and I unscrewed this thing and it immediately started spinning. I guess it had just gotten stuck or something. Looking pretty good now. Hey, what's that? Well, that was a lot more in-depth than I was hoping it would be. That's probably how you feel about this video though. But really, this is the first time I've done proper circuit board troubleshooting, and I did have a good time, even though I made a lot of mistakes. So I hope you enjoyed watching me fix this, because pretty soon, I'm gonna fix this. Yep, I got myself another one. And just like the coin pusher, it's working right now, but who knows what kind of problems I could run into. Hopefully that video ends up being like 5 or 10 minutes long instead of the 20 that this video is going on for. But until then,